Our first film is Blown Away, the second Mad Bomber movie released in the last few weeks, and it does suffer by comparison with the film Speed. Unlike Speed, Blown Away has some pretensions of significance, and I think that's what gets it in trouble. For example, here's a scene that seems like a parody of the speeding bus in Speed. A bomb expert, Jeff Bridges, has to defuse a bomb that will go off if a college student, get this, stops typing at her computer or the computer runs out of available bytes of memory. Unbelievable.
Tell me something. You like red wine or white wine?
Just do something!
Red, me too. She loves me.
That's just silly. The main story has Bridges trying to combat an insane bomber who has a personal vendetta against Bridges and wants to humiliate him by destroying other members of the Boston Bomb Squad. Who's the madman? Tommy Lee Jones plays him. He's an anti-British terrorist who has a checkered history with Bridges. They used to be allies in Ireland. Now Jones is in Boston for revenge.
Civilians die in war, Liam. You disobeyed orders. Betrayed the cause.
You never gave a damn about the cause. The only thing that ever turned you on were your damn bombs.
And what lovely ladies they are, Liam.
There are bombs aplenty in this picture, many of them quite ridiculously elaborate, none more so than when Jones wires up an old friend of Jeff Bridges, played by his real-life father, Lloyd Bridges.
I'm scared to move. I'm ticking.
And I'm sitting there thinking, where did he get all the stuff to wire up that old man like that? And the guy sits still while all this stuff is being put on him like some kind of Christmas tree? It's very silly, which is too bad because there are scenes in Blown Away that are really good, especially one where Bridges' new wife comes home and we suspect a bomb is in her house, and we see great, really great shots of her turning on a stove or turning on a light bulb, and we get right next to the flames, right next to the point of ignition. That's very exciting. So, scenes that work, scenes that don't. A mixed review from me, but thumbs down on Blown Away.
My thumb is down, too, and, you know, talk about those Rube Goldberg devices. There's one set up on the abandoned ship that Tommy Lee Jones is hiding out on, you know, where the ball runs down the chute and knocks over the bottle, which pulls the string, which sets the lever, which pulls the switch. And you say, is this guy a bomber, or is he entered the Westinghouse Science Search? I mean, why would anyone go to that much trouble when all you really have to do is blow somebody up? It seems ludicrous, and that works against the seriousness.
That works, and the seriousness also, because it's so serious, because the problems in Ireland are so very real, and people's lives are being lost there, that to use it, to invent something and not really deal with it in a substantial way, that also, too, works against
Well, also, of course, they kind of hedge their bets. At one point, there's a significant line that says he was too crazy for the IRA, you see, so he's just kind of your average freelance mad bomber.
You got it. After The Lion King, I think Baby's Day Out is your kids, little kids, next best choice.
Well, this is fascinating, Gene, because you've just defended this film on exactly the same grounds that I used for The Shadow. You like the art direction, you like the look, you like the old-fashioned
other
feel,
things.
you like the tone. Well, I hated this movie more than any other movie on this show, and I'm really surprised at you. You should be ashamed of yourself.
What,
first of all,
for not agreeing with you? I've never been ashamed of that. I've been proud of that.
Okay, well, in that case, here's another star for your lapel.
Okay.
This movie is not funny. It's way too long. The burglars, who are recycled right out of Home Alone, are really awkwardly written, awkwardly played, and they're not funny at all. And the fact, of course, this whole movie is obviously inspired by Baby Herman, the sequence at the beginning of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's funny in a cartoon because it's not real. If you think that a real baby crawling through traffic and crawling out on it, look, you're already smiling. You think that's funny. I didn't think it was funny.
I thought it was an absolute perfect child's eye view of the fantasies that they might have. And little kids, this is where I think you're off by a lot, little kids will really have their hearts in their throats as they watch this thing, and will be tickled, and will be absolutely tickled by the way the baby survives and the bad guys are foiled.
I don't think it's a movie that's appropriate for little kids. I can remember when I was 3.5 years old, I went to see a movie where Mickey Rooney was standing on a ledge outside a window. It was a comedy. Everybody was laughing. I was terrified. I think a little child who sees this baby about to fall off of tall buildings and be crushed by big cars isn't going to know what's funny.
Oh, you know, I better go back and find out who attended that sneak preview. I saw all those children are in dear jeopardy of becoming
We attended
Roger Ebert.
the same screening, and those kids were not with that movie.
We didn't attend it. I saw it in Michigan City, Indiana, last Saturday, so
Okay,
you're
well,
wrong.
then, totally different audience. Our next movie is Wyatt Earp, and this one is a real disappointment, a long, slow, disorganized telling of the life story of the legendary Marshal. The movie was directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who made Silverado, and it stars Kevin Costner, who made Dances with Wolves, and yet their touch for the Western fails them here, and we get a movie that tries to tell us everything about Earp and ends up leaving us over-informed and under-entertained.
Young man, how'd you like a job?
I got a job over at Clark, Jim and Farrell.
$75 a month.
I don't know, being a deputy isn't exactly...
I'll make it 100, but don't try and hold me up.
$100?
Dennis Quaid lost 38 pounds to play the role of the tubercular Doc Holliday and creates one of the few memorable supporting performances in a movie where most of the villains and many of the good guys seem poorly defined.
Dave Rudabaugh is an ignorant scoundrel. I disapprove of his very existence. I considered ending it myself on several occasions, but self-control got the better of me.
The movie just about throws away the famous gunfight at the OK Corral, which is almost over before we know it started. But a later sequence involving a deadly game of cat and mouse at night at a train station seems to go on forever, and we still can't figure out what's happening. Wyatt Earp is beautifully photographed, and it has some fine individual moments, but at more than 3 hours, it tells us both more and less than we really want to know.
Yeah, I was very bored, particularly by the opening hour of the film, and I thought the tone was wrong, and I think, frankly, Kevin Costner was too sort of mock heroic in the way he was presenting himself, and some of the sequences, like the Buffalo Stampede, didn't even look good. We were focusing on the looks of movies on this show. And then the final sequence in the picture, which I guess is telling you what you're supposed to believe, which is that things aren't the way the legends were. Well, come on, of course we knew that.
The movie is over by then. Don't, if they haven't made their point by then, they're never going to make their point.
Yeah, this needed a significant rewrite.